What up? What up? In Seed Talk, stuff to make your seeds walk. Hey, we back at it, man, and got a very special guest in the studio. Been seeing them doing some work around town, putting in that work, and I was like, I just approached them. I was like, look, man, you need to be on Seed Talk. And she was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna pull up. I was like, we can do a remote. No, I like the energy. I'm gonna pull up. So, before we get it busy, man, this is Seed Talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm Logic God, man. You know what it is. And then, you guys could go ahead and share and comment on this and whatnot. Please do. We're doing some good work over here on Seed Talk. So we want to make sure that you're spreading it and whatnot. So go ahead and share this and comment. If you want to go ahead and donate to Seed Talk and whatnot, and what we're doing over here, make sure you do that at Cash App. At dollars, Cash App, $ Logic on Man or Venmo. You can go ahead and do your thing there. But with no further ado, man, I wanted to introduce our guest for the day. You know what I'm saying? And that is IamChamel. Go ahead and tell them, who you be, and tell them what's up.
What's up, everybody? My name is IamChamel. I'm a music artist, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
On my side.
Right. So why don't you tell them where you grew up, man? Where you grew up, whether it's, Washington or you a transplant. I'm a transplant. I was born in Cleveland, raised in Cincinnati, but I've been here over 30 years, man. So, tell us what the deal is, man. Where you from?
I'm originally from the Bay.
Okay.
I went to junior high and high school in Federal Way. Mm-hmm. So Federal Way was where I spent the longest time because we moved around. I lived in West Seattle for a time. I lived in Olympia for a time. I went to Gatewood. I went to Hanson.
Okay.
We
so
moved.
You spent some time over here in West Seattle.
A little bit, You're so young and not, when we moved here, my mom remarried. My stepdad's job transferred out here. We were the only ones out here. And then he moved out when his job transferred from the steel mill from California out here to, it used to be Birmingham Steel. Now it's Norco right here off of the West Seattle Bridge.
Okay.
That's still plant there.
Yeah.
That moved from California here. And so he moved when that happened. And then some guys from the job that they were friends with down there moved. But, it was just us.
Okay. And so you moved here. That's just like my story. My mom moved here, you know what I'm saying? Because of my stepdad. He moved here first, from Cincinnati. And we stayed a year in Dayton, Ohio. And then we made that transition, that cross-country trip, in that U-Haul.
Y'all drove?
Yeah, me, my grandmother, rest in peace, when she was living, and then my mom.
Wow.
In the U-Haul, you know what I'm saying? We made that trip. It was awesome. And my mom did a really good job stopping on the way. We stopped at the Grand Canyon. We went to Mount Rushmore. She just did a really good job of stopping at these places. If you already ever made that cross-country trip, you could take I-90 all the way to New York. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember, where's Waldrug? We just keep seeing those signs, for making that trip. But you from the Bay, man. So let's talk a little bit about the Bay. What was it like growing up in the Bay? Because the Bay has a lot of influence. You know what I'm saying? We're like the Bay's little sister or little brother. You know what I'm saying? We get a lot of our slang from the Bay.
Fact. I tell people that they're like, nah, it's just town talk. It's town.
No,
it's Bay all day.
Yeah, it's a healthy rivalry. We love the Bay. At least people in my parts of town, and
Facts. Town business that came from the Bay.
Yeah, we inherited the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party had the second largest chapter other than the Bay Area. So we got a lot of love for the Bay. There's so much culture that comes. Shout out to E40.
Come on.
Too Short. My man La Russell is doing some things in the Bay that is so incredible.
He is.
He's just taking the entrepreneurship in hip hop culture to a whole different level. He said something like, you see a yard, I see a bag. And that's what he's doing. He just took a house and he's doing those house parties and doing shows in his backyard that you can just donate. You can pay what you want. So what was it like growing up in the Bay? What part of the Bay you from?
I'm from Richmond.
Okay.
Central Richmond. Growing up, it's lovely, man. You're with your family. Like my best friend is my grandma. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So you're surrounded by your family. Everything you're with your family all the time. So you're having fun when you're little. You know, as you grow up in the Bay, you get caught up and wrapped up in things that change as you get older. But initially, growing up, it's love, it's family, it's memories, good times. As you get older and you grow, it gets dangerous and things change. You know, life expectancy isn't that long.
Wow, it's that bad in Richmond, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not as bad as in Oakland or San Fran, though, right? In Richmond, is it?
Yeah. At one
Oh,
point in
she
time, it
said,
was the
yeah.
word. Absolutely. You know, that's all. It's everywhere.
Hmm.
Oakland, Richmond, San Francisco. Like
Especially over in Hunters Point, San Fran.
you got Iron Triangle.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You got the Barretts. Like you don't mess around. You don't play. Like it's sad because 11 homicides on one corner in 1 week.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
gunshots every day. Like it's not good.
Right. Right. Right.
It's not good.
So when you came to Seattle, did you see anything that was reminiscent of the Bay when it came to that street life and that violence and stuff growing up in Federal Way? Because
No.
you said no.
No. No, that's what's like you hear about the stuff that go on. You heard about things that went on in Tacoma. You know what I mean? But it's
Hmm.
not like stuff that went on in California, you know?
Hmm.
And that to me that's a good thing. You know? You don't want to you sh- you shouldn't have life that shouldn't be your life experience, you know, in your neighborhood and where you're growing up and what it's like. So and even what they said was hard, that was hard or scary or stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
I can
mean?
see
It's
that.
like
There's
what y'all call ghetto, what they call ghetto out here. I'm like,
yeah.
you know,
I've always said that Seattle really ain't got no ghettos, but they do have some ghetto mindsets out here. If you go looking for it, Seattle's one of those places you will find it. Seattle,
yeah,
you will find it in Federal Way because for a time, of course, it's not going to be able to hang with no, LA or Oakland. And not to say it's a competition for violence, but it's definitely not no Chicago or even a Cincinnati or a Cleveland. But if you go actively looking for, you know
you'll
what I'm
find
saying?
it.
Oh, you'll definitely find it there.
That's what anything though.
Right.
You know, that's what anything. But here's like, you know, they're not. When we first moved here, I used to get in trouble a lot, and I used to get kicked out of school. It was because there was a lot of talk. I didn't talk about it. You know what I mean? There
Hmm.
wasn't nothing to talk about. You know,
Right.
you said something.
Right.
I'm on your. You know, like we're fighting.
Mm.
You said so. You don't get that opportunity. You didn't get that chance to just talk and, but make a big show. Okay, you
Hmm.
do it. You know, what's
Right.
up?
Right.
We're right here, right now. You know,
Hmm.
you are you? It just you know, I'm. We're from the action. We're about action here. There's just passive
You
aggressiveness
about
and
that action,
yeah,
boss?
and they're all talk. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
all smoke.
Okay. And so that's how it was when you were growing up. A lot of
Here,
a lot of your childhood was fighting a lot, in high school and stuff like that.
elementary school, middle school. It was about the 8th grade when I was just like, something's got to change because I'm not getting the results and things that I want to achieve or accomplish, you know?
Right.
So something's got to let me figure out what I need to do to change.
Mm.
I didn't necessarily like getting in trouble. I didn't like fighting. I didn't like those
Hmm.
things, but it's
Hmm.
like you're not going to treat me less than or disrespect me or you know, we're not gonna have an issue and then you think you're gonna press and that's gonna be it, you know? And you
Right.
just think you're gonna be able to talk and manipulate and do how you move. Like that's weird to me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I consider myself a very chill, laid back person. You know what I mean? But I don't do
When's your birthday?
December 30th, Capricorn gang in
Okay.
this thing. Huh?
Capricorn again. That's
Come
like
on.
that's like Tiffany Wilson. We're gonna get into that too. She's a Cap too, and y'all did a song together. We're gonna get to that track that y'all did and whatnot.
Facts. She's
But You know, I'm an educator myself, so I can relate to everything you're talking about. I'm a high school principal. I've been in education for 25. This is my 26th year in education.
You're filthy.
So I yeah, appreciate you.
I used to do behavioral specialist work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We need more you know what I'm saying? Shoot, people that look like us.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? In the schools to be behavior specialists. We have a behavior specialist at our school, and he puts in work. He does a good job. Shout out to Mr. Collier. He's a musician too.
Come on.
But I'm all about random shout outs.
Come on.
But so yeah, I'm gonna get in my educator mode. I'm gonna get in my educator bag in my toolbox. So this is what I be asking the students a lot, but we never stop being students. So what was your trigger back in the day? And then what did you do to really change that? Like to make that transition of like, man, I'm tired of getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was your trigger back in the day?
Idle threats. You know, I'm taking it for face value. You know, I'm taking it, not understanding you're just talking to hear yourself talk. You know that you're really not about that.
Right.
You know, you just want to look good, or you're insecure about something and you're trying to make me feel insecure about something, or you're picking on somebody I know. You know, like there was a lot of bullies and stuff that wouldn't necessarily mess with me, but other people around us. You know what I mean? And would try to punk them or sticking up for my friends, and you know, just that's not gonna happen, because you know they would pick on them because they knew they wouldn't do nothing.
So
you know,
you're kind of like the enforcer. You were kind of like the bodyguard protector.
No, not at all.
No, you said no.
No, not at all. No, not at all. It's just I don't. In those situations, that would cause fights. But you know, people talking or doing stupid, just you know, who knows? You know, who knows? At school, and then stuff at home. You know, you not knowing how to regulate and stuff, that understand what was going on in your home life and with you, and having an outlet. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't spaz out over here and do what you think you want to do over here, so it comes out over here with any signs of that, mimicking that situation or what's going on here. You know, so I say mismanagement of emotions, because not understanding what it is and needing an outlet.
So when did you think that you made that transition? What did you do to make that I think a lot of it comes with just time and maturity.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the two.
I started writing poetry. Writing poetry and poems and essays and stuff. Just writing, you got to release that. You got to get that out. And then when I got introduced to freestyling and hip hop, it was.
Hey, by the way, you're called freestyling.
Thank you.
We shared the stage over there at separate times though for that fashion show and that 50th anniversary over the pier. Shout out to Akia and Marie and everybody, even Shalika backstage and all the models and all the hip hop, you know, MCs out there, man. I got to witness you get busy on the freestyle, and you pretty good from the top of the follicle.
Thank you, family. Yeah. And Giorgio Brown, Cool Out Network. Shout out Giorgio, man. Giorgio. He put and that's what's so cold, bro. Is like, so since I've known Giorgio, and the history and the knowledge and the love and the respect that and regards that he holds you guys to. You know what I mean? And that he's really been planning this and putting this together for a couple years now. But the fact that it got to come to fruition, and it's like it's just mind blowing, because it's like I see footage and things of the cats I was on stage from young, like me, out here trying to do and move, and it's just like, wow, like look at y'all, and look what y'all have done since then up until this point. Like it's like a full circle,
right?
Like everything's possible moment. And what's crazy, was not crazy, but divine, is that when you started doing what you were doing on the mic, whatever it was, or in music, you didn't know you would have the impact and be where you are today doing what you're doing in the form and the capacity, I should say. Right.
That was a beautiful moment. You mentioned Giorgio, but it was just a great example of collective work and responsibility of everyone just coming together. There were so many entities that were a part of that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Seattle chapter of the Zulu Nation, and just tribal production with Vitamin D
Facts.
and Top Spin, and there was just so many. KXP being represented by Gabriel Teodros. We
Facts.
had Erica out there. You know what I'm saying, with the son that she had with Jonathan Moore, aka Wordsayer Upendu, and it was just great to hear him rapping his father's lyrics. Rest in peace. So that was just a great experience. So just growing up with that anger, and I just now had Rajni on the show. That show is gonna be debuting pretty soon. But Rajni's a poet. He lives in Vermont now,
Mm-hmm.
but he grew up here in Seattle. And he talked about how his mom was in foster care and provided foster care services for over 70 Black and brown children in the city of Seattle.
Wow.
And what he was telling me is, like, a lot of these children were in the foster care. They had a lot of trauma, they had a lot of hurt, and they had a lot of harm that was inside of them. And they use spoken word, they use hip hop, and they use the arts to be a healing and coping mechanism for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because it is.
yeah. So, how did that impact like your music? You know what I'm saying? Like, and what you rapped about, like what you went through.
It played a major role because the pen and the pad never judged you. You know what I mean? Like whatever you wrote down or whatever I put down or expressed in that moment, like it's a blank canvas. So it wasn't gonna say, "Oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, that's not fair," or it's just there to absorb everything. Everything it's getting,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know at the time what it's doing to you by letting that out and releasing that and feeling that, and then like, you know, it being filthy coming out by happy accidents is what I
Right.
call them, and it's just the way it made me feel. Like you talk, I'm assuming that it is the equivalent to like the addictions and how
Oh
people
yeah,
feel
for
about
sure. Oh
other
yeah,
stuff, but it was like it was immediately, and the love, it was just like
instant gratification.
yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like no, you found something. For me, it was like I found something that I'm like, okay, I could really connect with this. I could really do something with this. Um, it really means something. It really like listening to music, right? I can listen to a song and a song can make me cry, a song can make me laugh, a song can make me want to go to the gym, whatever it invokes something.
Mm-hmm.
It it causes a reaction that it's like any and everybody can connect to something one way or another.
Mm.
And it's like I can't be selfish to think I'm the only person that feels this way or
Oh
maybe
no, 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 you're
experiences.
not.
But
Yeah.
but even in the stuff that I'm putting in it, right? Like am I tripping? I can't be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody else, or maybe this is connecting with somebody else. Maybe somebody else feels that. And the other the gratification portion didn't come into play until I did it in front of people, and it was like, okay, they're really rocking with it, you
When
know?
was that? When did you know that you was on to something? When did you make that transition from just like a casual writer, journaling, writing poetry, just casually, as a hobby, to like, oh man, I can really do this. I'm a real artist. Like, when did you make that transition and that pivot?
Seventh grade, um, Dovon Eisman, they had a group called the Ill Official Family. They were in the back of math class in Miss Steiner's classroom, and this was when the Carlos Santana and Wyclef Maria Maria beat
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
popping,
Mm-hmm.
and they would do it on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so my boy Dwayne, he would make the beat on the locker room door on the table or whatever. And then they were just making noise. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And he was like, oh, we're freestyling. I was like, what's that? He's like, well, you just say whatever comes to mind to the beat. He's like, you should try it. He said, we'll try it at break on after class. So we go in the hallway. We're in a circle. They start beatboxing, doing the thing. He spits. He didn't tell me that it was you start dissing and talking about people. So you know what I mean? He lit me up. I'm like, Wait, what? I said, wait, hold on. That's what comes to your mind right now when you hear this beat? Like, I said, oh yeah. And I said, okay. I said the next day, that will never happen again. So the whole walk home, I'm rapping about the rocks. I'm just whatever
Yeah.
to figure out like how are you what's going on here? What's happening? So I just start freestyling about everything as I'm walking home because I walked to school and I walked home. So next day came and I was like, yeah, let's do that again. We go in the hallway and just let loose. And we was going back and forth. It ended up being like the girls versus boys. There was so many people in the hallway during breaks and lunches to see us freestyling and going back and forth. The administrators and the deans and stuff would come through like thinking it's a fight.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I
We
be.
rapping.
I be having to tell. I be having to tell other administrators. They be like, "Oh, I think they're about to fight." Logic. I think I'm in. I'm
Nah.
in. I'm like, "Nah, just chilling."
Yeah.
Ah, man, they over there
Come
freestyling, man.
on.
Chill,
That's
chill,
and
chill. You
that's
know.
and
But
that's exactly when it was. And it was like, okay. Like it was on from there.
I mean, that's how I grew up too, man. Just freestyling, with people. That's one way to do it. You know what I'm saying? I think we got used to, um, watching URL, Urban Rap League, or whatever they call it. Watching all these cats, battling and whatnot.
Yeah, this was before that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
But I think that it's like we think that's the only way that we freestyle.
Yeah,
It could
no.
freestyling can be like you need to rap. You got to rap about anything I hand you.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? I love those type of freestyles, but that's just the competitive. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just the
yeah.
competitiveness of hip hop that's just built into the culture because we
Mhm.
know that Africa Bambaataa. I'm gonna drop a little breadcrumb. That's all we do over here is Easter eggs and breadcrumbs.
Come on.
Africa Bambaataa created hip hop as an alternative to violence. He was looking around in New York and seeing all these street gangs and whatnot, the Decepticons, and there's other gangs in New York and whatnot. And he was like, man, instead of us hurting each other and killing each other under these, I'm saying, poor conditions, let's do graffiti. Y'all can bomb a building and see who got the better graffiti. Y'all can break dance, y'all can rap, y'all can DJ, what I'm saying, and all that stuff, and y'all can beatbox. You know what I'm saying? So that became an alternative, and that's the reason why, how I see the reason why it's so male dominated and masculine dominated, but also the reason why the competition comes out in hip hop, because it was like that as an alternative for us hurting each other. So if you don't like, someone battling you and stuff, they could be going upside your head. Like Tresh said, it, man, you ought to be lucky, man, that I'm on this mic. Because if I wasn't this mic, I'd be breaking into your house right now. So I want to talk about what you said. I am Chemel. We can't know who Chemel is until we really start talking about who are the parents and the co-creators of Chemel. Talk about like the relationship between you and your because your mom moved there. Where they from, and how does that go into your music? Where are your parents from?
My mom is from the Bay as well. She
Okay.
was born and raised there. My biological father, he's originally from Louisiana.
Right.
He
Right.
moved to the Bay. He's been incarcerated since I was 3 weeks old. He is still there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I got family members that's locked up too, so I visited them too, so I know how that
Facts.
is. We could talk about that
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
offline. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, but even that, like, and then my stepdad, he's originally from North Carolina, but he moved to the Bay Area as well when he was a
Now,
teenager.
what about your mom's peoples? They got to be from somewhere down south too, because we all migrated from there.
They're my mom's side is from Texas.
So
Dad's
Texas,
side is
Louisiana, and North
Oklahoma.
Carolina, and Oklahoma.
Mhm.
Yeah, Tulsa. That's a major place, for Black folks. You know about Black Wall Street. Another breadcrumb, Easter eggs. We dropping them up in here.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
Coastal City massacres. All
yeah,
that,
yeah, absolutely. So, so what was it like, growing up in your household? I mean, how did your parents respond to you getting in trouble a lot in high school? I see this all the time
Oh,
in my career.
I would get my ass beat. You know what I mean? Like,
imagine that you get in trouble for fighting,
get
and you gotta
in
go
trouble.
home and then get
And then
be
you're
a
on
victim.
punishment, and then you're. But I grew up in a church. When my parents moved here, my mom first got heavily in church, AOH. You know what I mean? So it was about church and the Bible and prayer meetings and Bible study and usher board and hospitality committees and gospel this, gospel that. And
what'd you think about church? Was it your thing?
I enjoy the relationships that I build in church with the people.
Networking.
Not networking, just these are the people you're growing up with. These are the people and that you're seeing all the time. So
this was down in the Bay. You went to the church down in the Bay.
Bay and here. Okay. So in the Bay, we grew up seeing me. When we came here, my mom ended up joining an AOH church, Apostolic Overcoming Holiness. In the Bay, it was Christian Methodist Episcopal.
Okay, so explain the difference between those two denominations, man.
Well,
you dropping some serious Easter egg, right here.
Traditionally, Methodist Episcopal, that's Catholic. You know what I mean? That's a variation of all of it are variations of the Roman Catholic Church, but then the leaders or the big person at the time would put their twists and their spins on this, and now we're this, but we're Christian, but we're this type of Christian,
right?
Because this one is really the real one that was connected to Christ and knows. But then this one is like, well, no, we're the real Christians and connected to this on this side, so we're going to go by this because we were told this by Christ and the Lord, and we're following this and this. So you have all these denominations coming from the same God.
Right. So what about what's the second one you said when you came to Seattle? What was that one again? You said
Apostolic Overcoming Holiness.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, they speak in tongues, shout.
Oh, it's kind of like Kojic then.
Yeah, and Baptist.
Okay.
And Pentecostal.
Yeah.
All of them, that's all kind of, they're all similar.
What was the music like? Was the music popping?
Put your hands together.
Yeah, but was it good though? I'm just saying.
I mean, if the choir was good and the musicians was good, absolutely.
Yeah. I was just wondering, absolutely. Some of these churches, I grew up Presbyterian. And, the music was nice.
Yeah. But then, my stepdad's mom grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Exactly.
There's no music.
So I've been to the Kingdom Halls too, and I was like, "What? This is completely different."
Yeah.
And even those beliefs and what that is, I appreciate learning that there is something greater than me, something higher than me, something.
It sounds like you made I listened to your tracks though. It sounds like you made a transition because you talk about the God within.
Well, you're made in the likeness and the image, right? So the God within is the source and the creator and the power, right? We're one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's both. But there is no me without source. There is no me without God. There is no me without my creator. And if I'm a reflection of that, then
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we saying the same thing. You might say 6, and I might say 9, but we both saying 15.
Our division of 3.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all the same, you know what I'm saying? So we just see it differently, you know what I'm saying? But I understand, you know what I'm saying? I'm a 5%er, nation of gods and earths, but we see the same thing. God is within you. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm just now recently hearing about 5%ers. I still don't know, but and that's another. I feel like we don't have access to so much. There's so much we don't know about.
A lot of people's first access to 5%er, you know what I'm saying, teachings is through hip hop.
It is.
It's through hip hop. We're probably the biggest. I would argue we're the biggest influence on hip hop. A cipher comes from our lessons. That's actually in our lessons. But we could talk about that. So how was you? So you saying that your parents used to beat you with that statute of limitations? They can't get into. Let's just say you got spanked.
Yeah, no, we got we got whoopings. We got held accountable.
So how did your parents feel about you doing? And God bless stepfathers, man, because I'm a product of a stepfather. By the way, I got shout out to my mom. I got more daddies than all of y'all. I got 4 daddies. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
But so how did your parents, you know what I'm saying, respond to this music thing when you started getting real serious about this music? What was it like? Was there support?
No.
What was it like?
Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. No. But I've I can say I've never fully truly had my parents' support like that. You know, they're great people. You know, first and foremost, like you said about stepfathers, like mine treated me like I was his. You know what I mean? I never noticed the difference until my little sister was born. That actually between him and my mom, but daddy's girl, you know.
So there's two of y'all. There's two children.
No, I'm the oldest of 5. Well, my mom's side, and I'm in the middle of like 7, possibly 8 that we know about on my dad's side. You know, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
We gotta do those blood tests.
We don't know. Well, we know for a fact who's is who's. You know, but but him, you know, and we even the just what you find out growing up, like it's just a lot. You know, it's a lot. My mom got pregnant with me her senior year of high school in California. And my dad, you know, my dad was hustler doing this thing, you know. My mom, church girl too, but raised in California. You know, my family, my uncle, one of the big boys in the Bay, you know, doing his thing. So I'm an 80s baby, 86. You know what I mean? We're high.
Look at it, man. She don't look like
black don't crack unless you own it, you know?
She was in her 20s. I thought she was like 22, 23.
Yeah, no.
So let me ask you this, man. This is the first time I ever asked this question. So you say this is not the first time I've heard, you know, black folks, especially in the church, not supporting their child when hip hop. I was blessed, man. My mom was a deacon, but she was like, hey, man, this Bible right here, you really think that Goliath was 8 foot tall and this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these is metaphors, son. You know what I'm saying? And she was very, very open and very flexible.
That's
and I say that to say this, it's like she always supported me when it came to hip hop. However, I wonder what would happen if you wrote a song that was dedicated and in tribute to your parents. How do you think they would respond?
They would probably love it.
Yeah.
They would probably love it.
Because I think like sometimes we don't speak the language, you know what I'm saying? You know, we talk about love languages and stuff, the 5 love languages. I think sometimes people don't like hip hop because it doesn't speak their language. It doesn't speak to their language of tribute and celebration. I think they get, you know, my mom, even though she did support me and hip hop, she always said, I can't understand anything until they start cussing. I think that's what she said. You're not listening to the right things, you know what I'm saying? But she, you know, she loves hip hop, man, especially that damn thrift song by Macklemore. She loves that song. But so growing up and you're doing hip hop and things of that nature, like just talk about like how did you get established like in Seattle and you know in Western Washington and Tacoma and Federal Way? Like when did you start doing shows and how did you get connected with these people? Being
outside, so like I used to run. I was underage, and I used to run a club night at. Remember Wild Palms?
Yeah.
So I was running. Yeah. So I was running Friday nights. Kun, Tyrone, all of them had Saturday nights.
So we're talking D Tyrone, like
rest in peace Tyrone.
Oh,
man, yeah.
I heard that name in a lot.
Right. Like
C Love, man.
Yeah, and that's because for me, like. When I got on the scene, the only people that you heard about or seen doing was like C Spot, you know, Kun Love, D-Docs, Peg, Funk Daddy. You know what I mean? They had every spot, every place jumping from. Seriously, from the Rock Salt to you name it. Cafe Arizona. Remember, you see Cafe Arizona, you're like, that's not Cafe Arizona. But Cafe Arizona was Cafe HD Hotspurs. Like, you know what I mean? When Cube 93 was Cube 93 and doing, I used to call into the Sunday night sound sessions or in the freestyle. Remember when they used to do freestyle? What's your name?
Okay.
Where you from?
Okay.
Go ahead. Show me how it's done. I used to call into that. Like, you know, I'm just being outside, wanting to be a part. Like, hey, I do this. You know, I was on the bus, just popping up places, just wherever I heard something going on. When I bumped into somebody, or I was just outside trying to see how it works, what you do. You know, how do I take it to the next level? You know,
what's if you were to talk about it? I mean, I don't want you to go too deep if you think it's going to cause any ripples, because a lot of people don't like to talk of hip hop politics in Seattle. But just from an outsider looking in, growing up, I mean, what's your perception and what's your understanding of like what it is to be a hip hop artist in Seattle?
Like my outside looking in?
I mean, because you're not from here. I mean, you put in time. I mean, you could. I mean, we'll definitely take you if you want to claim it. But I'm just saying, a lot of people be like, if they come from a different place, they'd be like, ah, man, Seattle's different. You know, the hip hop scene here is
It
different. The
is.
politics different. But like,
Absolutely.
what's your understanding of it? If you,
But I feel
could
like
break it
that's gonna
down.
be anywhere and everywhere
Right.
you go, right? Even in your hometown, right? I feel like the scene, the people here, period, are interested in different and weird. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's from, it doesn't matter. It's
Mhm.
just something about here, you know? And I feel like anywhere you go, there's politics, there's things, but it's like, who are you? Like, you can't stop what somebody's destined to do or somebody's destined to be. What's for me is for me. Like,
Mhm.
nobody's ever going to be able to get in the way of
Right. Right.
anything that I'm doing or what I got going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like people, I feel
Is
like
it what's your been in your experience like getting shows here and working with people and stuff like that? Or even the turnout. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk to the elephant in the room. We talk about Seattle hip hop politics. People be like, man, all the performers on stage be black, and we look out in the crowd, it'd be nothing but, you know what I'm saying, melanin deficient or white folks, and that kind of bugs and annoys people that Seattle is so white, you know what I'm saying, and gentrified.
because it is. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? What are we, less than 13%?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it so? What does that leave?
Right, right, right.
77% of where we are
Mhm.
won't look like us, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. It is, two, a lot of people don't promote.
Mhm.
You feel me? We can go to we can go to the hip hop 50 alone and just go see how many times people really promoted and pushed the event that they were a part
It
of.
was packed though.
It was
It was
packed,
packed though.
but I'm saying,
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying? That's Friends of the Waterfront. Look how many heads it should have been packed. It's the waterfront.
Right,
And
right.
even if we didn't promote, think about all the traffic there was 4,000 people alone that just got off the cruise ship.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, right,
So
right, right, right. That's
we
true.
we won't count that. Let's say like a Fremont Friday. You
Mhm.
feel me? People perform. At least a week in advance you're going to be on, when you're going to be on, right?
Right, right, right.
How many people really promote and push that even that week?
I don't know why is it
Your
like that.
show.
Even when you do push stuff, it seems like it's hit or miss with the turnout here in Seattle. I don't. And you know what? My perception of it is, I'll go ahead and add on, man, because I've been here, 30 plus years. It just seems like number one is hit or miss,
Mm-hmm.
and look, granted, let me give a shout out to Tibbs. Let me get a shout out to Kun. Let me give a shout out to Ghetto Press, Keith, Lakeith.
Mm-hmm.
They're better than this than me. I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm an artist, I'm a visionary, and I'm a creator. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very, very good at those things. I'm not a very good businessman and a promoter and all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I have to outsource for stuff like that when it comes to the grill party experience and things of that nature. So it's hit or miss when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it just also seems like this crowd is so finicky, especially when it comes to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's the style of our hip hop, how we do things, because a lot of the stuff is very melodic, it's very laid back. This is a very, very cannabis friendly city. So maybe that has something to do with the tone and the posture of how we listen to music. That people just want to just, mellow out, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of chill to it and not, really get it hyphy like, what I'm saying, in the Bay or whatever. I just kind of noticed that, you know what I'm saying? And it's always been to me, there's it's a beautiful blend and synthesis of like spoken word and like rapping and just talking. It's like, it's a beautiful blend of those things. I don't know what it is. But I like it. I like Seattle hip hop culture. I just really want more people to be put on and more, spotlight to be put on the artist and the artist be amplified more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because we're more than Sir Mix-a-Lot
Mm-hmm.
or Macklemore or you know, even more than just, my man Ishmael Butler,
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly. Shout out to him and Diggable Planets. You know what I'm saying? And
But
I
they're
think
clicky.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't even know, like across the world, like that Ishmael Butler is from Seattle. He went to Garfield. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So it's just kind of different, man. But I do love the culture here. It's so rich when you start understanding Seattle Black music culture. And that's why I had to do a piece on it and stuff like that. And in the future, I would love to do some work with you to just really amplify and solidify this culture here that we call Seattle, because it really, really is a transplant city. That's the thing that makes Seattle so dope when it comes to culture and music. They come here from the military. They come here for the tech industry. They come here to make more money, because no place in America is really truly safe for Black folks, but there's some places that are safer, and Seattle's one of them. You can really make some good money out here and it's safe, but you just got to deal with the rain, you know what I'm saying? And you got to deal with being, uh, the minority, low in numbers, but it's quality over quantity out here, from, how I see it. I wanted to talk a little bit about like image and presentation and style and branding when it comes. I've been seeing a lot of stuff in hip hop that's been popping up. There's a lot of elitists in hip hop, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. I don't like it. I think it's problematic. People always trying to call certain things hip hop and not hip hop, and I think it's just based on if they like it or not. Like for instance, like a lot of the Sukiana stuff and like the Sexy Red and a lot of like the sexually explicit stuff, and even stuff that mumble rapping or stuff that glorifies drugs and stuff. They be a lot of the elitists will be quick to say that's not hip hop, that's just rap. I'm like, man, all that stuff is hip hop, man. You need to just broaden and diversify your portfolio, what you listen to. But I also see a lot of people like the men, if they're dressing differently, or they, oh man, that's feminine, that's gay, I don't like what he's wearing like that. And then we got rappers, what I'm saying, that are more masculine presenting, who are women, like Young Ma, what I'm saying, or even like yourself, or even like a Rhapsody or something like that. There's so much critique when it comes to your presentation in hip hop. Why do you think that is in hip hop? Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing in hip hop? Why do you think hip hop is like that? And it's not like that in any other genre. It seems like it's easier to be yourself, other than maybe like gospel hip hop or something like that, or gospel music, where they be like, no secular music. Why is it so hard to be yourself in hip hop?
Because they're listening to other people telling them that they have to be something other than themselves in hip hop to make it, or to do something, or to be a part of the culture. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like when you hear a artist like, oh, my creative team, our creative director told me to do this because it's trending. It's what they're looking at. It's what they want. They're trying to appeal to the masses and to people, and people judge. People care about certain things.
Right.
People's focal points are the wrong things. And you think about it in your job. People go, you went to your interview looking a certain way.
Right. You got a code switch when you put it
hey, when you answer that phone at the school,
you got to dress like money. You got to talk like money.
Come on, you know what I mean? So it's
me?
like if you're trying to, and that's the thing with hip hop, right? These are just people. Hip hop is authenticity, individuality. This is a culture of people, and people just being themselves, doing what they love to do and what is natural to them. But people are trying to imitate the culture.
Right.
People are trying to imitate what it is and who we are. Like everything else, they want to take control and run everything else, everything from us. We are the creators of everything.
I just think it, like, even myself as an artist, I'm, and we want to get, this is going to be a shameless plug. I don't care, man, because I want to go, I want to talk about some of your tracks and the titles of your track. And that's why I appreciate what you're doing so much. But, when I make, a fun song or something like that, I always think in the back of the mind, I'm still going to do the song, but I always think about like the placement of it. I got to read the room, because people be like, oh man, they're going to think I'm soft. Now, only thing I can do is rap about fun. Or if I rap about, the ladies, all you do is rap about the ladies. Now he's pandering to the women and stuff like that. And I think it's because hip hop started off, like I said, with Bambaataa. It started off with such a strong masculine energy. You know what I'm saying? And it started off with men running it, and men have been gatekeepers in hip hop. And that's been incredibly problematic when you look at the history of hip hop. Can you even imagine how many dope women MCs that would have came out if men weren't such gatekeepers? I mean, we would have had like put it this way, the best hip hop female hip hop group ever would not be Salt and Pepper if we there was no gatekeepers. It would have been some kind of super duper, you know what I'm saying, mega, group like Queen Latifah, MC Light, and Lauryn Hill, something like that. Like,
but we got them all.
We got them all, but you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even MC Light,
Mm-hmm.
for her to be on the self-destruction track, a lot of people don't understand that. They said the only way we're gonna let you be on this track if it's someone else writes your lyric for it. And since LL Cool J is not gonna be on the track, he's gonna write your lyrics for you. And she's known for that, she's known for that verse. You know what I'm saying? But then people can always be like, oh, but it was a dude that wrote it. And dudes are still writing lyrics for women. So when we say that hip hop is whack or it's dead, you owe that a lot to the leadership of men, because they're gatekeeping a lot of stuff. I'm like, even like people like Rick Ross. I remember this one interview on the Breakfast Club. Rick Ross literally said, I don't have no female artists underneath me. And they were like, why? He said, man, because they got to smash. I'm like, what? Like, this is, and this is just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, what have your experiences like been, being the artist that you are? Have you experienced what I'm talking about? Or am I just?
I experience, if you think about it, men are the cause of a lot of demise and destruction and the ways that we are and have in the world, period. Not to say that they're bad. You know what I mean? There's wonderful men and great men, but men, the way men think is different. And so the way they move and operate is out of ego, and pride and control, and power. And those are all great things when it's coming from the right place and used for the right reasons, and it's like ego speaks if you say you're afraid for a woman to outshine a man. And a lot of times that's what it is you don't want to take. Some men are not okay with playing the supporting role, like they would want to be supported in anything, hip hop included. There's some that are great, there's some that gave props, like Timberland did an interview on Club Shay Shay when he said, we wouldn't know the Timberland we know if it wasn't for Missy. How many men would say, I wouldn't, besides their mom, I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for this person. Yeah, this person dope. Saw something in me and made me who I am today.
That's dope. I think Timberland and Missy are a great example of complementary duality. They complemented each other so well. I mean, she wrote his beats so good. You know what I'm saying? A lot better than Magoo.
Right. But he created
rest in peace.
He
man.
created the beats for Missy. He was a DJ. You feel me? His specialty was manipulating time on as a DJ, playing records. He did a mix and a mashup that a mutual friend heard of that Missy and Tim had, and she heard it. He had been trying to link them, and then she helped him become a producer. It was like, make a beat like this or do something. And that's how he started production. He was a DJ.
I think a lot of stuff is changing, though. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about hip hop, talk about your track, Authentically You. You know what I'm saying? And what you're talking about that and what it means to you as an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Authentically You is a track about being your authentic self and being okay with taking up space as who you are. Like first of all, knowing who you are and being okay with that, loving every aspect of you, your flaws, your imperfections, your highs, your strengths, your everything, and being okay with that. And also what comes that is being okay with that other people aren't going to be okay with who you are, and that everything in the world isn't for you and isn't going to work for you. And you can't do that. You have a lane just like everybody else has a lane. I have a job. I'm a piece of this big puzzle. All you can worry about is your piece of the puzzle, figuring out who your piece is, what your piece is, and what your piece is going to contribute to this puzzle, and walking in that, living in that, trusting and loving in that. It's when we're not confident or sure of ourselves that that we people please and we try to fit in and do and be all these things to be in these rooms or go to these places or be a part of this life or whatever it is, because that's what we aspire our, as human beings are. We aspire, we want love and acceptance and validation, and you know, we want to be belong to something.
Right. I was listening to that track. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Thank
you know
you.
what I'm saying? I told you that before, and I was listening to it, and I had this question when I was listening to it. I have a question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super duper fake, and then 10 being like, I'm exactly how my music is. How much does your music represent who you are on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being like, fake. I know it's not a 1, but I also don't think it's a 10 either. Like, and if it is, then tell me why. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does your music reflect who you are?
100%. 100%. Like
They can listen to your music and find out who you are.
absolutely.
That's
What I
dope.
believe
That's
and what I
dope.
feel. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't even say that for me. I mean, and it's not a right or wrong answer. It's not a
You
good
know,
or a bad thing.
but I'm intentional like that.
There's just a political things. The reason why I can't.
Yeah.
Just me being an educator and me being the
that's
person I am.
but that's the thing, right? There's another box or something that you want to
exactly
exist in another world where there's rules and there's things that you, if
standards.
that if you want to play in that world and you want to be a part of that in the way that you want, you feel you have to do that. You know what I mean? Because as an educator, you're making an impact as well, and you're involved in a different way, in a different system.
Right.
That's
and also too, I don't think I'll ever be able to say I'm a 10. You know what I'm saying? Because I love to role play and use theater in my music. You know what I'm saying? My name is Logic Amen, but on like the last album I put together, my mixtape, I was this character called Intelligent Trauma. And it just took you through the story that had a lot of Logic Amen in it, but a lot of stuff that he was doing in there that wasn't me. I like to transform into a drug dealer, a person who's, a Crip or a Blood or a BGD. I like to transform into
that's dope.
I want to take it all different kind of places. But I'm also in theater too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do theater. I'm in movies. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to be characters in my movies or a character in my play. I would love to write a whole rap where I'm Russell Noodle Smith, the person who started the Black and Tan clubs in Seattle back in the 1920s through the 40s. You know what I'm saying?
It.
Yeah, definitely.
Why not?
Go do it.
Do it. Shit, why not? Do it.
So when you talked about men are the cause of a lot of stuff that goes on in our, communities, in our world, that's not good. I totally agree with that. I definitely check my male privilege as much as I call it penis privilege as much as possible. I definitely identify with the penis I was born with. But I have to identify that even before I was born, I was given certain privileges that I didn't even earn. That's just real talk. And privileges it goes across all different kinds of categories and boxes you may check, from gender to sexuality to race. I can keep going on and on and on. But when you look at it, what do you think about when people say a lot of the women that are making hip hop that are successful are either performing for the pleasure of men, they're doing stuff that is pleasurable for men? Because I remember when I first met Trina, I thought she was really about all the stuff she had like 5 bodyguards. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get out of my face. And I was like, what's up? And she's like, man, like they're not like that. So a lot of people will be like, a lot of successful women are either on the tip of performing for the pleasure of men, like a Meg or a Cardi or a Nicki or a Little Kim. I keep going on and on, or a Sukiana, or they're rapping like men with that masculine presenting energy. You know what I'm saying? To be like them, to have that same type of power. You know what I'm saying? I hear people like say that, well, young MMA, I didn't even know that she was a woman. You know what I'm saying? How she be rapping, how she be talking about other women, and and sexing other women and stuff, she sound like a dude.
Right. Well, if and if some of the men told the truth, they be rapping about what they be doing to other dudes, but it's not accepted. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So how do you feel about that commentary that a lot of the successful women are either doing it for the pleasure of men, or they're to be successful, or they're doing it to emulate?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Sex sells. In any and everything. It's
Being
not
an alpha sells too.
facts. But that's the thing. Drake isn't doing the show for you. You feel me? He's doing it for your daughter.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's.
I think Drake is dope, by the way.
Absolutely. I think people.
I love his branding.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people sleep on him, even lyrically.
Oh yeah, he gets busy.
Yeah,
he got writers though. He got writers, but he still gets busy. I know he can write for himself. I know he can.
But
I know in my heart he can.
I do, but I feel even with his writers, I feel like with his writers, he's still probably even harder than the writers. You feel me? I feel like if you put J. Cole and Drake against each other in the room and was like, y'all gotta write 96 right now, and Drake is over here writing his 96, you over here writing your 96, I think Drake would fuck.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have a whole.
I think he would.
We're gonna have a whole different podcast for that, because
I think he would.
I think J. Cole. I like
him. I love.
Think he got the edge because his portfolio is a lot more diverse. He raps about way more different stuff. He can battle you. J. Cole can rap about the women. He can go into politics.
So can Drake.
Yeah. I've never heard him be political, really, at all. Okay. I've never heard him be social conscious, but I would love to hear it. I know he got it in him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know he got it in him. How would you respond if someone says, and we get this a lot even in basketball, and I want to talk about that track you did with Tiffany Wilson, and you said you had some family members I think you have one family member that's a basketball player.
I have a couple of family members.
You have a couple of family. Okay.
Yeah.
We all do, huh?
Yeah.
I'm the basketball player in our family, but what you hear a lot in basketball, like I used to hear it a lot with Sheila Lambert. I don't know if you know who Sheila Lambert is. She's a hooper. We used to hear a lot with Alex Montgomery, another one of my friends. She played like a dude. And a lot of sisters, when they get busy, they be like, oh man, she rap like a dude. Like, how do you respond when you hear that talking about another woman, or how do you respond if you ever heard it about you?
I understand that it's their form of giving a compliment. I get in the context of how it seems and how it could make somebody feel, but I understand in the way that they're saying it, they're giving a compliment to a woman, because women anything is considered less than that you feel me? So even though they're
that's true.
It's true, but even though you meant it in good intentions, but the fact that your standard or your ideal and ideology is already that I'm less than is the problem.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
So how do you respond? How would you respond to something like that?
Your game and who you are responds, right? It's like I can argue with you and we can do, but it's like, I'm better than anybody.
That's that Capricorn coming out. I'm better than anybody.
It's not better. It's but see that's the thing. Like everybody else is comparing you. You see what I'm saying? You're just doing and being the best with whatever the best is. You feel me? You're pushing yourself and doing and giving what you are, but somebody else is putting something on it, or some type of value, or some type of what you're bringing in, who you are, and just like instead of you just being dope, right? It's like Seattle people crying that you don't got a basketball team, and you got a women's basketball team that has done more than what your men basketball team has ever done for.
Right.
To be exact.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But everybody's screaming Sonics, and Sonics ain't did nothing compared to what the women have done, the Seattle Storm has done. You see what I'm saying? You had an opportunity to save your basketball team and you wouldn't even show up. Now you still got a basketball team that's still active, still winning championships, still doing their thing. You don't even come support.
Shout out to the Storm. I was at Sue Bird's last regular season game of her career last year. It was dope. So I like that answer though. You just let your music and your talent speak for itself.
It does, right? That's what made them say what they said. right?
Mm-hmm.
So something that about that made you feel like I'm on your level, or what you set a standard or a mark for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that you already assumed that it was gonna be here. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I love that. I love that about what you just now said though, Chemel, because I like you just cut straight to the chase and just be like, women are considered less than. And that's why I always be trying to remind people, stop looking at things from a colonizer, colonial um viewpoint and a lens and a magnifier. They like to amplify our differences. And the reality of it is, if we study a lot of pre-colonial stuff before we were colonized, we understand it's about complementary duality. It wasn't so hooked on this gender thing. You know what I'm saying? And people be like, oh man, logic, man. No, I'd be like, no, man, we need to stop saying and doing certain things and take people for who they are. And then we would have less problems in our community. Any single time that we're arguing over someone being their authentic self, we should check ourselves and stop and say, that is the colonizer talking. We need to stop saying, oh, she raps like a dude. No, she's just a rapper. She's just a hooper. You know, she gets busy.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're better than them, then just, if it's a competition for you, then just prove it through the music.
Right.
Make a better song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
let's play one-on-one.
My focus would be, let's not play one-on-one. Let's work as a team.
But that's the thing. You don't think like that.
Because that's not hip hop.
Right. But if you
that's not the roots of hip hop.
Right. But even
we can make it like that.
But even coming in situations, right, is because we naturally automatically come from a wanting to help, wanting to teamwork standpoint, right? It's when you've been taken advantage of, and when you realize, oh, what a move could be, then it's like, again, that power and control comes in. It's like,
right.
I want to you. If it's teamwork, it's only if I get to benefit over you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me rephrase that. I said that's hip hop. Let me clarify that. Hip hop is unity through competition a lot of the time. It really is. Because look, let me tell you something real quick. I'm gonna keep it a kilo with you. My homeboy comes to this studio and get busy. If me and you did a track, I'm always gonna be like, I got to have the best verse. I'm always, it's always in me to other people gonna push to bring out the best of me. But here's the thing about me. We gonna do the song and I'm always gonna give props to someone else. I'm waiting for someone to be better than me so I can big up them and be like that. It's not always like that with a lot of people. And we see this across cities all over the United States. We see rappers getting mad because someone is just better than them or has a different sound than them. That's more appeasing. And so the thing that makes me want to work so bad with you, and the thing that made me want to have you on the podcast, is not because I don't think you're talented. It's the complete opposite. It's because I feel like you will challenge me as an artist. You know, that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you and whatnot, and things of that nature. So, I think we could be talking all night. I think it'd be good to, to have a part 2 in this, and we can actually, since we introduced you, we know that you from the Bay, you grew up in the Fed, you know what I'm saying? We got a little Genesis story from you. And we know where to find you, www.IamChamel.com. And you're on all platforms, right?
Yep.
Spotify.
At IamChamel, and it's all one word.
Yep, just like that, right?
Yep, like my website. Yeah.
And we've already done that. I would love to have you come back and we just talk like, hip hop biz, because I've really I want to do a real tour amongst my colleagues and my peers about this whole concept of hip hop is dead. I can't stand that concept, that talk. We need to change how we talk about our culture, because I'm serious about this. But
life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah, I wanted to finish up. Tell me what it was like working with the Tiffany Wilson. Tiffany and I got about six to seven, 8 songs together.
Queen.
She worked, what was it like? Because y'all did the song for the now I watched the video and I'm sitting there watching this. Video was so good, the song was so good, I thought it was the official song of the show.
It is.
You got
I'm dubbing it. It is.
So tell us about the creation of that song, and tell us the story that went behind making that song for the Seattle Storm.
Tiffany Wilson is just a legend, a goat. Her voice is just impeccable. Like, I love Tiff. I love Tiff. I've been listening to Tiff forever, you know, and it's always been a dream to work with legends in and from the town, you know, like Tiff. Uh and we just being outside, meeting, going popping up to
Being
open mic.
outside, not on the porch,
Nah.
not on the porch, not
You
on the
know,
sidewalk, in
going
the
to a Rumba
streets.
Notes, going
Yeah,
going
yeah.
popping up at Sea Monster, popping up at the venues and events and just things, just meeting people, seeing who out, and really meeting people. Um, Me and Giorgio, I was hosting Giorgio's rooftop series on top of the Liberty Bank building, and she came out for FISA. And we chopped it up, and we had always said we was gonna connect and we was gonna link. And then I was putting together a project, and I'm just like, I have all these concepts and these ideas where I'm like, okay, this person will be bomb on this will be bomb. And I got like 12 songs where I'm like, Tiff, you know? And we just came together on this song called Magic first. That it's unreleased. And
you gotta release that, man.
it's magic when it listen. It's magic. We did that and loved the vibe and the chemistry. Then we started coming together and just cooking up songs. We wanted to do a writing house and just start putting out songs for placements and different things. And then I wrote Light It Up because I'm like, we need the theme song, we need the anthem. You know, I know there's some back from in the 90s and early 2000s that a couple of artists did, but I'm like, we need an anthem. Like, they're gonna stop talking that Seattle ain't got that heat, a basketball team, sports team, and a real rapper representing and putting it on. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. You know, I wanted it for the Mariners. I wanted it for the Seahawks. I see, you know, coming out the start of a game, you coming out the tunnel. You feel me? They coming out on the court. So I just wanted to create an anthem.
You got anybody biting on any of those placements yet?
I'm just emailing all day. Nope.
Yeah,
nobody's bitten yet. So, but I'm still pushing regardless, and I did it. You know.
Yeah, we gotta have a whole episode on that because my man Doomy, shout out to Doomy. He's from the town. He's down in LA now. That man be getting placements,
really?
Man. You be watching shows on Netflix, and all of a sudden I hear his voice. I be like,
"That's my guy."
Yeah. And then my guy Vitamin D be getting played. I was watching Power one day. I heard the beat come on. I was like, that bass line. I said, there's just no way that's my guy. Vitamin. Looked at the credits.
And
produced.
There he was.
It's a big rich town. So yeah, man, we gotta have a whole episode talking about placement so you can teach people the culture of placements and what's that's about. Like for y'all don't know, it's creating music, whether you're producing beats or you're making actual songs with lyrics on it, and then you're going out there and you're shopping it for movies, for commercials, for series and stuff like that. It's a pretty profitable industry, and it's a way that you can monetize your intellectual property. So I think it's kind of dope. What else you got to tell them before we get up out of here, man? You said Spotify.
Oh yeah.
iTunes.
At IamChamel on everything, anything and everything digital. I'm on there at IamChamel. You can check out all my stuff.
Okay. And here's the last thing, man. When we do with I'll go first so you can see how it is on Seed Talk podcast. We do something that's called "What's the Plan of Action?" So basically, what it is, we take everything that we talked about today, and we say, "What's one thing that you would like to share with the audience as a plan of action or a homework that they can do? They can take away from this from what we talked about." I would say, for me, it was using spoken word, using hip hop, or using journaling or something like that. Use it to be your authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Put your life story down in some kind of form to make history, because you never know who's going to get a hold of that when you've transitioned into the afterlife. So leave a ripple in this water called life. You know what I'm saying? And put it down. What would you say will be one of the plan of actions or some homework for people based on what we talked about today?
Take a second before you respond or react to something, and to identify what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and is the way and you're about to respond or what's going on a result of this moment, or are you frustrated with something else and you're bringing it into this? Just regulate. Just pay attention to your triggers.
And I'm sure you learned that just when you talked about your Genesis story growing up and always getting in fights and stuff like that. And now you know, like, that really surprises me. I guess I can hear it in your music, the tone. And you that's you talk about a placement. That's a great place to put that energy into it. But every time I've seen you out, it's been nothing but love. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And you just seem like a very peaceful, energetic, you know what I'm saying, joyous person. Like
'Cause
I
I
always
am.
say, man, happiness is the flower, but
Mhm.
joy is the seed. And it seems like you watering that seed. So
Thank you.
and keep it up. Hey man, it's I am Chanel. And we mentioned
Chemel.
Chemel, sorry, pardon self. Sorry
You're
about
good,
that.
you're good.
And we mentioned Tiffany Wilson. So if you in the town, Cafe Racer in historic Capitol Hill area, you can find Tiffany there on Thursdays.
Mhm.
On Thursday. I don't know when it starts, maybe
9
7,
PM.
9 p.m. Check her out if you want to check her out. You know what I'm saying? So this has been I Am Chamel. This Logic I'm in. It's a Seed Talk. We out.